Hi, friends. I'm Maile Navarro. Welcome back to Honestly, I'm Fine, the show where I say that I'm fine so convincingly that you almost believe me, and then I keep talking just long enough for me to ruin that illusion completely. If you're new here, welcome. You kind of picked a weird time to jump in, but honestly, that tracks because nothing around this has been linear, organized, or emotionally stable. This is not your average self help podcast. This is not your everyday grief podcast. This will not be 5 steps to heal your life. It's not that kind of situation. This is more like what happens when your life completely falls out from underneath you and you try to duct tape it back together with some caffeine, some spiritual curiosity, and a lot of delusion. And then you hit record because apparently the public needs to see what we're doing now. I'm a mom, I'm a writer, and I'm a grieving parent. I am also against my will on some sort of spiritual field trip that I don't recall signing a permission slip for. And this show lives right in that space between I think I'm growing and I might actually be losing my mind this time, but I'm doing it productively. So if you're here because your life took a wrong turn that you weren't planning for, or if you're trying to rebuild a life that doesn't remotely resemble what you had before, or you're just spiritually confused and extremely pissed off about it, you are in the right place. Around here, we don't pretend to be fine. We say I'm fine, and then we word vomit the truth. Before we get into today's episode, I have to address the very obvious thing that I kicked off this whole I'm going to manifest a life that doesn't suck experiment very publicly and very committed, very confidently. And then I ghosted you for 2 weeks straight. Not 2 days, not like, oops, I missed one post. I literally vanished like a dad in a backstory. I wish that I was able to come on here and be like, I was integrating, I was setting intentions, I was getting aligned. I was in a deep period of spiritual recalibration, but I wasn't. I was in my car crying, avoiding my own expectations, and realizing that building a new life isn't a cute little rebrand. It's a full psychological demolition project. Like, I really thought that I was about to come on here and just record a glow up. What I actually did was document the first 2 weeks of me getting my ass handed to me by grief, inconsistency, and the sudden realization that this isn't going to be a quick fix and I am not a morning person. This isn't week one. This is not week two. When I tried to do both, I immediately lost control of the narrative. We're going to talk about what I thought this was going to feel like and what it actually felt like, where and why I fell off. And the part that nobody tells you is that deciding to change your life is cute until you actually have to be the person who can sustain it. And apparently that upgrade is really hard, like offensively hard. So yeah, I'm late by 2 weeks, but I'm here. And unfortunately, I have like a lot to say about it. So let's get into it. Had to go grab my little comfort pillow. We're in the zone now. Now I can word vomit. Okay. If you don't know me, I'm a grieving mom who lost their son almost 2 years ago in July. And that fucked my life. And I accidentally turned it into a podcast because sitting with my thoughts quietly felt like a hate crime. I am rebuilding from ground zero, like emotionally, financially, spiritually. We are doing a full system reboot with no tech support. I'm still trying to parent 2 living children and figure out who I am in the wake of losing my son. For years, I was his caregiver. And in this season of my life, it's safe to say that I don't know who I am or what I do. All I know is that I got to this place where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. When I decided to start a 365-day manifestation experiment to create my best life, I was doing that under the premise that manifestation meant I believe something to be true and it was magically going to happen. But at the same time, I didn't fully understand what manifestation was. I don't like the word manifestation. 2 years ago, if you had brought up the word manifestation, I would have probably kicked you in the teeth. If I'm being completely honest, people talked about manifesting all the way through Kingston's cancer journey. You cannot think cancer away. So the more people talked about manifestation, the more resentful I became towards it. When I decided to do this experiment, I really thought that I could read a couple textbooks, I could watch a few YouTube videos, write some affirmations on the mirror, and repeat them daily, and that this would just come easy. I just had to train my brain to believe that I'm pretty, train my brain to believe that money was coming to me easily. I didn't know that it meant I had to actually do the work and take actual steps, emotionally, spiritually, physically, to get the things that I was trying to manifest. For week one of the experiment, on day one, I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was walking the dog. I was like, this is it. Just by getting up early before the alarm went off, that's a big improvement for me because there are days where I don't get dressed, where I don't get out of bed. So getting up early, that's a big change for me. As it turns out, I'm not much of a morning person. By day 1.5, I was in full blown tears before lunch, and it stayed that way for the next 3 days. But I did notice at the end of week one that every day that I did something slightly uncomfortable and slightly different from what I did the day before, there were tiny rewards. I thought that I was going to wake up early, drink water like a hydrated queen. I thought that I could journal something profound and then glide through the day like a woman who has never spiraled out in a CVS parking lot. I really thought I was about to become somebody consistent and stable overnight, which is, in hindsight, pretty hilarious. Before I tell you what it feels like right now, let's just talk about what happened in week two. Nothing. By day 5 of week 1, I was struggling so much to journal at night, whether it was writing it down or going on social media just to vlog. Like, I thought that I had to put something out for you guys to see every night. That was my original plan. Turns out I have some serious issues with my confidence. I was doing makeup, setting up the perfect background, and I wasn't willing to release any of it or do the part that mattered, which is record what happened throughout the day until everything looked aesthetically perfect, which, by the way, that's never going to happen because I can always find something wrong with it. So week 2, I didn't journal or record anything. What I can tell you is that for 4 nights straight, I cried from the time my kid went to bed until the time she got up for school in the morning. All I did was sit and watch videos of Kingston and wonder why life had to be so hard. No changes were made. No results were had. I didn't feel like it was productive at all. In hindsight, I had to sit in that mess because it is important to acknowledge all of your feelings, even the bad ones. And I don't have to do those all publicly. Somewhere in the middle of all of that, I got this intense reading that apparently was coming from my son through an old friend. I was actually intrigued and very grateful to get it because, of course, any chance to feel like he's close to me, I'm completely open to that. But the way that it landed in my body at first was pretty rough. There was this part about him helping kids in hospitals now, and my immediate reaction was absolutely not. He would have rather died than go back to the hospital. That can't be him. Hospitals just weren't his thing. So I'm sitting here like, if you're telling me that his job in the afterlife is volunteering in the chemo floor, I'm out of this one. It felt off, and it honestly really pissed me off. Then there was another part that said, don't bother him so much. You're pulling him from other work that he's supposed to be doing. And immediately I was like, absolutely the fuck not. I know him well enough, and I know spiritually that souls have the ability to move about. They're not stuck in one spot trying to respond to texts and customer service requests. He's not over there exhausted from my love. And the idea that my kid, my person, would ever have said, Mom, this is too much for me, that was just not our relationship. So it didn't land. Then we got into this money stuff. There was this part about don't tell people all of your money problems. You're telling people too much on the internet. You're freaking people out. There's people that would help you, but they're not because you're saying weird stuff. They don't like how you're talking on social media. That one got me freaking heated because in this world, this is real life. I'm literally a grieving mom who's been evicted twice. And if that freaks you out, you're literally not my people. And Kingston, he was my person. He would have never, ever told me in a million years, you're freaking people out, Mom, by being honest. Like, you need to stop. That wasn't him. He'd be like, tell them everything. If they can't handle it, they should leave. In that first pass, what I heard was, you're bothering your spirit son. You're doing all of this wrong. The way you're talking about money and grief is too much for a lot of people. That the shit you're doing kind of sucks. I was already behind on week 1, so I was already feeling like shit about myself. What I caught myself doing was making these little TikToks instead of recycling finished podcast episodes like I was supposed to and calling it a promo. I told myself I was working, and my brain grabbed onto that and was like, cool. Even the dead think my whole entire approach is completely off. But a few days later, when I calmed down and I reread the messages, I started to see and hear so many different things from that message. The hospital thing, if I soften my body a little, it could just as easily mean that he's around kids like him. He's where love and bravery are. He's close to the kind of courage he lived with. Not that he's trapped doing rounds in a place that he hated, but that his energy is with the kids who needed it. The I bother him piece, now I hear it more as, you don't have to like scrimp and scrounge and die looking for signs. He's not a scarce resource. You can relax a little and trust that he's always with you, which is rude, but also fair because I am over inundated with signs most of the time anyways. And the money part, as much as it really annoyed me, kind of had a point hiding inside of it. Not shut up about the reality of the money. It was more like, you're looping out loud about the problem when really, if you told people what your solution to the problem was, all of that would be poured into you because I do have a solution. The podcast, the books, all of the things that I'm talking about, all of those recaps, if I just got that work done, people could hear what I was aiming towards and it wouldn't be so much me complaining all of the time. That stuff actually changes the situation. So, no, I don't believe that my son is over there wagging his finger at me, telling me that he's exhausted, that I'm reaching out for signs. What I do think he's doing is going, facepalm, mom, I've sent you all of the answers. You already know what you're supposed to do. You need to trust in what you've already received. And as I say this, I have full goosebumps because I do already know what I'm supposed to do. And that reading wasn't to hurt my feelings or to negate anything. I think there was a personal twist put on it, both by the person delivering it and then me receiving it, not for what it was supposed to be. But the end of the day, the reading really was, you're not an influencer, mom. You're a life-changing person, and you have a story that is going to change other people's lives. Don't repeat on TikTok some bullshit about not having a job and go tell people the reality of what you went through and what you're doing to really try to make this a better situation in the face of it all. And yeah, it's just, there are so many signs, and I'm constantly like, tell me more, give me more. And then I think the person had said in the reading, stop asking for so many signs. They basically said that I was bartering for signs. Like, if you do this, then I'll believe in that. But that was their twist. The reality is that sometimes I will get 6 signs that say, go, go, go. For example, this morning I said, if I'm on the right path, give me a sign. Within 2 seconds, a car cut me off and the license plate was Kingston's birthday. And the license plate said 7 try 029. Kingston's birthday is July 29th. And he was telling me to try. What I tend to do is be like, send me another one and then I'll do this. But I don't need to do that. I've received all of the answers and the confirmation 100 times over the last 2 years. I don't need more. I need to go try. So even though weeks 1 and 2 didn't look like I wanted them to, there was still a lot of growth that was happening. I learned what manifestation really is and what it is not. Then on top of all that, I realized that listening to your body and knowing when it's time to rest and to feel your feelings is also super important. But you have to limit the time that you sit in your lower vibrational state. I know a lot about energy. The higher vibration you are in, the more things are going to come to you. The lower vibration you're in, the worse things are going to be. Good things don't come to people sitting in the depths of hell. By day 2, I realized that consistency is extremely hard for me. My version of consistency for the last 6 years was inconsistent. And there was comfort in that lack of consistency because when you're dealing with cancer, you don't know what you're going to get from day to day. Now that I'm forced into this version of life, the things that normal people do are actually extremely terrifying for me. It is so hard just to get up and take my daughter to school on time. It is really difficult to consistently put your laundry away and to wash the dishes and to grocery shop. Those things give me full-blown anxiety. I knew before I started this experiment that consistency was probably going to be difficult, which is why I started the experiment, to motivate me to be more consistent. Did it help? No, it actually just quadrupled the pressure of being consistent. And eventually, by week 2, I felt like an epic failure on all fronts. There was no, oh, this worked, so I'll keep doing that. No, I completely crashed. Take into consideration the fact that I have ADHD. We're only supposed to, with ADHD brains, commit to something about 2 minutes at a time. Think goldfish. I never believed that I wasn't built for a specific level of consistency. I know that it's possible because there was a life before cancer that I went to work. I took care of a kid and everything was in order. I have an OCD type personality. Everything was extremely organized. I know that the potential is there, but my brain has learned how to work under atypical circumstances. And I have to retrain my brain back into typical or, normal behavior. So it wasn't that I realized I'm not built for, I never realized, I'm not built for consistency. What I started to believe from my lack of being able to be consistent while knowing that it's something that I am and was previously capable of doing was that I was just a loser. Like I'm a failure, that I've lost the ability to be normal and to function, and that maybe good things just don't come to people like me. And I just spiraled so inward that consistency wasn't even a question. It was literally a full Yelp review of my new personality. And I didn't like her. Like, I don't like her. I don't like the version of the person that I am today. Right now, today, I'm rebuilding from ground zero. When Kingston passed away in July of 2024, everything I thought I was and who I knew myself to be was literally ripped away from me. I was his caregiver for nearly 7 years. And once that disappeared, I realized I don't know who I am without that title. I don't know what I do without that job in front of me. And I have two other living children who deserve a functional mom. So in this season of my life, I feel like I have lost sight of who I was, who I am, and who I have the potential to be. And so right now, I feel like on this day, at this exact time, I am somebody who is just desperate for everything I feel like I earned by going through what I went through his cancer journey. Now, is that realistic? I don't know. Like, kind of feels like I feel entitled because I went to hell and back. So where's the reward? I'm somebody who is open to growth and just really, I'm sick of sitting in shit. I'm in the season of my life where I don't want to sit in the dumpster anymore. I deserve better. So I'm kind of reclaiming what I have always been like. What am I trying to say? That I'm stepping into who I am learning I'm supposed to be. In one sentence, if I could describe the experiment using manifestation to create a life that doesn't suck, it would be I'm trying to unfuck my life in less than a year, try something different, and see if anything actually changes. I'll be honest. When Kingston was going through his cancer battle, there were so many people who would message me and tell me that I needed to change my thoughts if I wanted him to survive. Basically, they were telling me that I needed to manifest healing for him. During Kingston's cancer battle, people would tell me things like, you can't believe that he's going to die, even though science said he was going to pass away. So I already had a problem with manifestation because to me, it felt like that's like wishing in one hand and poop in the other and see which one fills up faster. You're probably not going to get your wishes. It's always going to be shitty. I've never had a relationship with manifestation. I thought it was a bunch of woo-woo nonsense and that people who believed in it were out in left field just living on hope and a prayer, especially when Kingston's cancer stuff came around and he was in the last few months of his life and people were like, you got to think it away. I really built up a deep resentment toward the word manifestation, let alone the process of it. When I set out to do a 365-day challenge to manifest a better life, I thought that each day I could just do one simple thing for my mind, my body, or my spirit. Didn't matter which one it was. Just one different action would change the trajectory of the day or the week and ultimately bring me riches. I really thought it would be kind of simple if I just read the right books, watched the right YouTube videos, and just copied what some of those manifestation gurus write about. Like, I really thought that it would all work out. But at the same time, I was like, I don't want to follow somebody else's program because I haven't seen them at rock bottom, right? We've only seen what they are now. So we don't get to see the full journey. I wanted to create my own program based on all of the other stuff. On day one of the first tasks I gave myself was to create a list of all of the things I wanted to manifest for myself in the next year. My list, as it turns out, was really superficial. I put nothing on that list that was anything you couldn't buy. It all related back to some sort of materialistic thing, whether it was my appearance or where I lived. Closing my eyes, my dream life when I started this was a big house with a pool and a trampoline for my daughter and a housekeeper and a nice body and a personal trainer. And I was doing this podcast as my job. I was writing books and being published. I was happy and smiling. That's what I saw. Oh, and it was really sunny all the time. I thought that at the end of a full year, if I could do this perfectly, if manifestation really works and it's scientifically proven, that there's no reason I shouldn't have financial stability and the house, at the very least. Secretly, I thought that I was going to be able to prove all of those manifestation gurus wrong in real time. I thought that it'll either fully flop or fully work. Obviously, I was hoping for the better version, but also if it doesn't work, I can prove that they're all fucking wrong. 2 weeks into having tried to do a post every day on social media, I full on crashed and burned. I did days 1 through 6, I was able to film a video, even if I was super tired or looking and feeling unattractive. I would manage to put something on social or whatever. By week 2, day 7, I missed my week 1 check-in to have a full podcast released. So I decided that I was a loser. And then I decided to quit by day 1 of week 2. So we're on day 8, and I was like, I can't do this. It's too much. It's obviously not working. And it's really sad that I thought that at the start of week 2, because there were actually several things that happened by day 1.5 that opened doors for me that I have yet to even participate in, to even see whether or not those will bring new results or good change. I saw results in days 1 through 6, but because I didn't release a full episode for you guys with a total recap of week 1, I decided that it wasn't working and that I was incapable of doing this consistently. And if I wasn't going to be consistent, then it wasn't going to work, because that's what they say, right? If you don't get what you're manifesting, it's because you did it wrong. I just figured I'm incapable of doing it right. I can't do it. It's not for me. I'm not that person. It's like, I'm not the girl with the gift of manifesting. If somebody were to ask me, why are you torturing yourself, or why am I doing this? Or what's the point of this? It would be, I've got nothing left to lose. I've tried everything else. I have not actively sat down and built out a plan to make intentional changes to bring intentional change. A lot of people have listened to some of my TikToks and social media posts and have written to me and asked me, what was going on that you decided you needed to manifest a whole new life? Like, your life can't be that bad. Pretty bad. The night before I got this idea, I had been living in Redondo Beach. I've always lived in Redondo Beach for as long as I've lived in California. I had to move apartments for the second time because I was being evicted for the second time since Kingston passed away, because I can't find a job since he died. I know there's a lot of things in the way of showing up consistently just for posting in my own home. So sometimes leaving the house is really hard. That move from Redondo Beach to a new city broke my heart. I felt like I was leaving behind everything that connected me to my son. I was driving at 11:30 at night. It was our last night in our old house, and there was a car in front of me with a Pikachu sticker. And if you know my relationship with my son, we play Pokemon all the time. So it immediately caught my attention. And if you know anything about the signs he sends me, I get a lot of signs through license plates. Him and I used to have this game when we would drive to chemo or wherever we were headed, and we would chase down personalized license plates to see what they said. Since he died, there's been an uncanny amount of license plates with his name on them. Really profound messages, actually. And in front of me had said, evolve. I've been saying for a while, if you've listened to any episode in this podcast, that we are brought here to evolve our souls. So when I saw the Pikachu sticker, I was like, okay, what's going on? There's something else here for me to see. The license plate said evolve, and I was moving from that city where he had never lived. It was basically somebody took an Etch-a-Sketch with my whole life's plan built out on it and shook it all up and was like, start over. When I saw that license plate, I just burst into tears, because I felt that, and I knew in that moment, it's time to level up. It's time. You are changing. You are growing. I used to tell Kingston all the time when he would go to physical therapy and he'd start crying, he'd say, it hurts. It hurts. But he wanted to relearn how to walk. He wanted to play baseball with kids that played normal baseball. He didn't want to have to be in adaptive sports. And I said, if it doesn't hurt, you're probably not working hard enough. It has to be a little bit uncomfortable for your muscles to be growing and getting stronger. When I was crying in the car and I saw that license plate, I could just hear him telling me, if it's not, it's going to hurt a little bit and you're going to be really uncomfortable, but it won't get better until you push through it, right? That's what I used to tell him. And if he can relearn how to walk 3 times in less than, a 10-year life, like, this should be easy. Sorry. That's what was happening, is I had nothing. I'd been evicted twice. I was moving into a small place where I had to donate half of his belongings because I couldn't afford to store them anywhere. So it was pretty much a rock bottom for me. And I've been to some rock bottoms. Just listen to a couple episodes before this one. When I said I wanted to manifest a life that doesn't suck, I wanted a life that I don't have to go on the corners of Facebook and Instagram and ask on GoFundMe once a week for gas money. I don't want to walk into a job where I'm making other people rich while I am trying not to go home and slip my wrist because I don't know if I should say that. Hold on. I want a job that doesn't make me feel like my purpose is insignificant. I need a role and a career and a job where I am using what we went through for better. I cannot have what we went through, and I cannot have my son's death be for nothing. We don't go I am convinced that we don't go through these trials in life unless we're being taught a lesson, unless we're being trained to level up. I believe now that we're being trained to level up in the game of life. And so if something is hard, there's a lesson in it. And once that lesson is learned, then you will pass your quote unquote your soul test. Or in Pokemon, you can't take a level 2 Pokemon out, battle a level 75 and win. You will get your ass beat every time. I was tired of going out in life and being a level 2 and getting my ass beat by quote unquote normal people, which I consider anybody who's normal who hasn't lost a kid. You're a level 75, and competing with normalcy hasn't been working for me. No job, no money. No money means no nothing. You can't function without money, period. But I can't make myself go do this job that makes me want to disappear. Manifest a life that doesn't suck to me means that I have a career and a way that I make money to provide an excellent life and all of the things my daughter needs and some of the things that she wants while serving my higher purpose. And I still don't know exactly what that means, but I know that it means I'm using what was hard for better. In the back of my head, when I first started on this, in the back of my head, I pictured a new boob job. I pictured a personal trainer. I had a housekeeper in a big house because I tell my daughter all the time, we will never get a big house because I don't want to clean it. But I really do want space. I want the house. I want a pool. I want to live on the beach. I want a car that doesn't sound like it is actively dying every time I start it. I don't want to have to worry about paying my cell phone bill or if I can put food in the fridge. I pictured going on vacations. I pictured being happy in a world where my son doesn't exist. And to me, that feels like a fantasy for sure. And I want to be able to do things that he didn't get to do in honor of him. And because of him, I pictured us living like a Kardashian kind of life because I feel like we earned it. So that was the fantasy thought process behind what I was doing. Because if it all worked out the way Gabby Bernstein says it could and Mel Robbins says it could, then I would have all of that eventually. Okay, so somebody asked the question at the beginning of this experiment. I think if I'm understanding the question right, pick a character from a show that describes who I thought I would be if this worked in a year. Oh gosh, I would be Cher from Clueless, because didn't she have everything and could go shopping whenever she wanted and buy whatever she wanted? Another one, if I had everything, I would be Elle from Legally Blonde. I think she had everything too, right? I'm trucking along on this little 365-day, let's build a new life that doesn't suck ass. I was trucking along, seeing little bits of results. Week 1, the first thing I changed, I think it's important to make sure that you guys know, I didn't do anything crazy. I just got up before 7 o'clock in the morning every day that week. And on day 1.5, I was so freaking tired, I burst into full-blown tears before noon. I was sobbing, like thinking 36 hours into this is not for me. This is so hard. Getting up every day is so tiring because by noon, I just need a nap. Around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I realized part of manifesting this new life is going to be painful and tiring. And if I get tired, it's okay to feel the feels in my body. And if my body says take a nap, it's okay to lay down for 10 minutes and close your eyes. If it turns into a longer nap, nobody died. Nobody's expecting me to clock in at work. I laid down and I checked my phone one more time just before it really gnawed off because I had a feeling I'd fall asleep. And I looked at my emails. It was 111. And if you know anything about me, I loves me some angel numbers. So 111, I felt immediately there's something in this that has to do with guidance from my guides or God or my loved ones, Kingston, whatever. I opened my emails and there is an invitation to be a guest on a podcast. And she had been listening to what I thought was absolutely the most messy, emotionally embarrassing episode that I have shared on the podcast so far. She said that she was walking her dog and just bawling her eyes out on her walk with her dog, listening to me tell a story about how Kingston came to visit me in a dream after he died. And that dream was more real than me sitting here right now. When I read that, I almost threw up. My heart sank and almost fell out my butt because I acknowledged how hard it was. I acknowledged what my body was asking for. And then I acknowledged the nudge to check my emails one more time at 1:11. And there it was. The best part about the invitation to be on this podcast, she tells me that she has 2 podcasts, and one of them was just converted into a Paramount Plus 3-part docuseries. It just so happens that my very good friend, his daughter's mom, had just finished her own podcast that was turned into a 3-part docuseries. Immediately, I'm like, oh my gosh, did he set this up? So the co-host of that podcast had found me organically. I had spent the night before that Googling SEO and trying to use keywords to build up my website and the podcast in the search engines. And what she wrote specifically in her email was that she was using SEO to search for stories like mine. Immediately there was validation. She said SEO, that's what I had been working on. It worked. It worked. There was an immediate result within 36 hours, right after I had decided that it was completely pointless to even do the work, or that I was not cut out to do this because it was so exhausting. I had to call my friend. I was like, dude, did you set this up? Like, he's like, I didn't know. Don't even know what you're talking about. Like, he had never even met the co-host before. She found me all on her own. And that's a really exciting thing to be a part of. And it's about stories from beyond. And when I know more about it, I will definitely share it here. But it was working a day and a half into it just by taking one baby step. I don't even know why I got into the mindset where I thought that this was impossible and I should quit. But by day 2 of week 2, so what would that make it? 9 days in, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm done. This sucks. Really, it was when I didn't post the week 1 recap, I was like, I already failed. People are going to think I'm a fraud. This isn't going to work if I can't be consistent. So I might as well just not do it at all. And I cried every day for the next 4 days doing exactly nothing. I would come in here and I would play with the lights and I'd move the sign around and I'd do up my makeup. By the time I finished playing with everything, it's 11:30 at night. My daughter's asleep in my bed. I'm working out of the corner of my bedroom one day. I'll give you a quick tour and you can see where I'm really sitting. And I would be like, okay, well, it's not meant to be. It's never going to get done. And I would just go to bed deflated. Midweek 2 that I was like, fuck this shit. This is pointless and I'm going to quit. Dude, I felt like I was on the X2 at Six Flags. I was up and down and happy and sad, deflated, encouraged. It was a lot in a really short amount of time where I was like, oh my God, I'm going to fall asleep right here. If I had to go back and give week 1 a label, I would call it suspiciously functional, because there were a lot of moments in week 1 where I felt like this was maybe not for me, that maybe I was doing it wrong. Maybe I was in over my head. And there were a lot of moments throughout the day, like every 5 minutes, it was, it was like hanging out with, I don't know, man. It was like being with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like one moment I'm fine, the next minute I'm not. But at the end of every day, there was actual growth that I could feel and see and point to and be like, look, that worked. So it was suspiciously functional. The last 2 weeks in one sentence were an emotional roller coaster that taught me that I really can make small changes if I am committed to it. Right now, 2 weeks in, this feels like it's going to be a very long, hard road. I originally wanted to do this in like 90 days because a year long felt like one hell of a fucking commitment for somebody with ADHD. But I've heard once before that everything that you break or mess up or everything you fuck in your life, it takes twice as long to unfuck it. So it took me about 7 years to get to this place. Actually, I can go all the way back to 2010. It took a long time to get this fucked. So I might be dead before it gets unfucked, but I'm hoping that it's not true. I'm trying to prove that wrong also. I'm hoping that what you guys have to look forward to in the next couple of weeks is how much of what I'm going through, we all go through. My goal, instead of being this big time overachiever, my goal is that I do vlog check-ins with myself at home so that I have actual recollections of what happened, because when I get upset, I tend to like brown out and I can't remember exactly what I wanted to tell you guys about week 2. What do you have to look forward to? Well, I'm going to put down in the show notes coursework for your week 1. And I'm going to take it a lot easier on you guys than I had originally planned to. So for week 1, I had 3 videos and I had a whole book and journaling every day. Don't start with that. Like, you will crash and burn. Like, if you can do it, great. Be an overachiever. Good for you. But if you're anything like me, you can look forward to a simple start to attempting to even learn what manifestation is. So you will have coursework for week 1, coursework for week 2. You'll probably get it in week 3 because that's how I roll. And then what do you have to look forward to here on the podcast is watching it work and then being able to go back and apply it to your life and be like, oh, my shit's really like not that crazy. A lot of what I go through daily is obviously amplified by Kingston's loss, but I'm always surprised when I hear how many people are in the same boat. So I hope that you can find some comfort here and that that's something to look forward to. After all of that, week 1 feeling like progress and a mess all at once. Week 2, me basically ghosting you in my own project. Here's where I'm at. I don't think I did nothing. I think that I didn't do it the way I said I would. And instead of adjusting, I just disqualified the entire week like none of it counted, which is honestly very typical for me. If it's not consistent, if it's not clean, if it's not something that I can point to and be like, look, here's the proof, I just decide that I've failed it and I move on. Meanwhile, underneath all of that, things were actually still moving in my favor. I was noticing my thoughts more, and I was catching myself in a lot of patterns that I normally wouldn't notice and would definitely have ran from. I was seeing in my life, in the moment, where I avoid things on purpose and where I shut down and where I tell myself the same failure story over and over again. And apparently all of that counts because now I can do the work to undo those things. I think week 1, honestly, this is a very, very messy start. Week 2 was a big shit show. I'm not going to restart and go from 0. I'm starting from awareness. And I don't know if that's enough to change anything big. But I know that pretending nothing is happening just because it didn't look how I wanted it to or how I expected is probably how I've stayed in the same place in my life. I am not going to go back to day 1 and try to do this perfect because I don't think that exists. I'm going to stay right here in the part that is super inconsistent and uncomfortable and not very impressive to look at, honestly. If the experiment is actually about anything at all, it's not about doing it exactly right. It's about seeing if something changes when I stop betting against myself and stop giving up the second I don't see instant gratification or immediate progress. Week, day, whatever, we are clearly thriving. Let's see what happens next. If you're following along, thank you. If you are in your own version of I said I was going to change my life, but then immediately spiraled and gave up, just know you're not actually behind. You're in the part that nobody talks about. Go check out the show notes because I put week 1's homework in there. It's not a fix your life overnight project, just something that maybe we start paying attention to and we check out our own patterns before we decide that nothing's working. If you're getting anything out of this, even a moment where you're like, oh, cool, I'm not the only one falling apart while trying to improve my life, follow the podcast, subscribe wherever you're listening, and follow on all of the social platforms. I'm out here attempting a 365-day life rebuild, and I would really love to not be sitting alone in my apartment refreshing my stats like it's a job that I don't get paid for. So come and do this with me. Share it with a friend. Give me something that I can at least say I made a little bit of progress or witness it so I can call it research. I'll be back next week with whatever this turns into. Until then, I am honestly fine. Adjacent.
Forecast set endless blue. Flip-flop sunscreen on my nose. Then the sky cracks silver lines running through my clothes. Warm drops on my phone screen, dripping down my playlist art. You laughed as it soaked my hair. Said, guess we needed a fresh start. Let it pour on the sunny town. All this upside falling down. Salt and sweet where the rivers roll. It's like water for your soul. I cry when I'm happy, laugh when I break. Storm in a desert, every feeling's an earthquake. Dancing in puddles where the dry heat used to glow. Yeah, the sky gets heavy when my heart feels full. It's like water for your soul. Heat waves in the strip mall, glass mirage of some cooler place. But the clouds roll in uninvited, smudging all the neon paint. We're soaked through our fake plans, eyes, mascara tracing tiny streams. You say, why does joy hurt too? I say, guess it's how it cleans. Let it pour on the sunny town. All this upside falling down. Salt and sweet where the rivers roll. It's like water for your soul. I cry when I'm happy, laugh when I break. Storm in the desert, every feeling's an earthquake. Dancing in puddles where the dry heat used to glow. Yeah, the sky gets heavy when my heart feels full. It's like water for your soul. Flip through all our screenshot days, sun icons in every row. Still the rare gray sneaks in like a secret only we know. You say, will this clear the air? I say, hope it floods the doubt. If the tears come on a good day, let them fall and rinse it out. I cry when I'm happy, laugh when I break. Storm in a desert, every feeling's an earthquake. Dancing in puddles where the dry